Hey, what's up, everybody? Marcos Villegas here. Just a few hours removed from my nap that I took. Got late home last night from Las Vegas. Gonna talk a little bit about this Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo Alvarez fight that happened. Give you a little insight about how the whole experience was for me from the fight week up until the night of the fight. My observations after the fight, stuff that happened during the post-fight press conference, and my interactions with Abel that Sunday, what I heard from them about what Gennady told them about the fight, and all that stuff. First off, I just want to go ahead and welcome you guys to this Fight Up TV live chat. I'm going to show you a few cool things that I picked up from the fight. I want to make a note. This fight was the first time that I've had so many people ask me for gear for the fight. Every other fight, I usually get, one or two people are like, hey, give me a program or give me a t-shirt. This fight, fucking everybody wanted gear from this fight. Either Canelo hats, Triple G hats, honestly, majority of Triple G shirts and hats. And I'll be honest, Triple G has some fucking dope hats. And the Nike stuff, too. The Nike stuff sold out so quick, and they would get more stuff stocked up. And we called them on Saturday, and they sold out within a few hours of all the Nike gear that Gennady Golovkin got. I'm going to show you what the program looked like. So this is the program from the fight. It costs like $20, but I always get these programs just to keep them as memorabilia. I haven't even looked at it yet. It's the picture from the face-off. It's actually pretty nice now that I look at it. Not bad. I always just keep them for a keepsake, memories. I was hoping maybe one day I'll go ahead and do like a poster with my credential. Let me show you the credential. Let me go grab in my bag and show you the credential real quick. So this is what the credential looked like right here for the Canelo Golovkin fight. Not like Mayweather Pacquiao where they had like the little chip in the back. So they had like the regular ones over here. So yeah, let me start off from the beginning of the week, and then we'll culminate to Sunday. So I got there Monday with the team. Here's one of the hats that I picked up for a friend, the Triple G hat. Shits are pretty tight, pretty cool. So we got there Monday night. I'll be honest, I feel not as exhausted like I did for the Mayweather-McGregor fight. It seemed that it was a lot less stressful than the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Not as much media. There was a lot of Spanish media there for this fight, but in terms of overall, we all knew the Mayweather-McGregor fight was a bigger event, but this is the fight that we all anticipated and wanted to see more because of how competitive we perceived it to be, which it was competitive the night of the fight, but I'll get to the fight. Fight week's cool. I get a chance to talk to Gennady on Sunday. Before leaving to Vegas. Gennady is always really cool, giving me time. Didn't get much time with Canelo, to be honest, during the week. Had a weird interaction with one of the PR people. I'm not going to name out names, but it's just... I should probably stop because I'll probably get in trouble. But it's just, there's a way to talk to people, and a lot of the times the PR people aren't people. They don't talk to people in a respectful, professional way, and they don't do their due diligence either with numbers and viewership and platforms. You guys fuel Fight Hub. You guys are the reason why we get so many hits and traffic and viewership, and a lot of the times these PR people don't respect you guys in terms of the amount of traffic you guys bring to a platform like us, like Fight Hub, and they think, because you write for a newspaper and you put a story out on a newspaper, it automatically means someone's reading that. No one reads fucking papers. You have a newspaper, it gets circulation of what? 50,000 readers. You can't track if a certain person is flipping over to that sports section for that specific story. It's fake. Yeah, you have a circulation of 50,000 people, but you can't for sure know if those 50,000 people are reading that your news story. With us, we know exactly what the videos and the content we put out are doing. So it's a fucked up system in terms of how they have it and who sits where during fights and all that. I think a lot of the digital guys don't get enough credit, don't get enough respect. I'll be honest, in the last 5 weeks from the 2 fights, you know, the digital media outlets really got pushed aside, pushed to the back. So I don't think it's fair, because I think digital outlets like this channel and other channels, and you know what? I'll start naming channels by name, because I think overall, as all of us digital people, need to start uplifting ourselves and really pushing ourselves out there. You know, channels like myself, like Fight Hype, Boxing Voice, Giandra's channel, Behind the Gloves, IFL, Seconds Out. All of us are keeping this sport alive, giving you content on a consistent basis. We're the ones putting in work, man, on a daily, day in and day out. And you know, a lot of times we get dicked around and shoved to the side when it comes to these big events. And honestly, it's not fair at all. It's not fair. It's not fair. And the other thing is, we end up getting more views, or if not the same amount of views that these papers get when they're writing stories online. I asked a writer, you know, what'd you get traffic-wise for this event? He told me 500,000, and I'm like, dude, we're getting 1 million for a lot of our stuff. You know, it doesn't make sense. So that was that little interaction that happened during the week. I was extremely pissed off the way that all played out. In terms of the atmosphere, Vegas started getting popping Thursday night. It started getting good. A lot of people showed up Thursday night. A lot of fans were there. But it was different. They're not as outspoken as the Irish fans were during the Mayweather-McGregor fight weekend. I think it's because they're a part of, it's just the way they perceive sports over there in Europe is different than what sports are perceived here in the United States. They have that football culture, and yeah, you know, a lot of Mexican fans came from Mexico, and they have soccer in Mexico. But I think with European fans, it's at a higher level with the atmosphere and the chants, and that spills over to fights because they bring that experience from those games that they go to all the time, and they bring it to fights, which adds more to the excitement of it. So Thursday night got popping. Friday at the weigh-in was an early weigh-in. It was at 10 a.m. People were lined up till like 9 o'clock in the morning to get in. It was fucking packed. Have I heard it louder for these weigh-ins? Yeah. In terms of atmosphere, this one was okay. It was all right. They weighed on the scale at 1 o'clock, which is cool because of the Mana concert. They had to get them all the hell out of there because the weigh-ins are usually at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that was the reason why they had the weigh-in so early, was that they needed to get all that stuff out. So Mana, which is a Spanish rock band, one of the most popular Spanish rock bands of all time, they had a series of concerts over the weekend, so they needed to make sure they had all their stuff set up for the Mana concert. So that's why the weigh-in was so early. With that being said, the atmosphere for the weigh-in was okay. It was okay. I was expecting a little bit more, to be honest, but it was all right. So another interesting thing that happened, and I'm actually getting a brain fart now. I was gonna bring it up too because I thought it was something worth noting. You know what? Drew a big old brain fart. Man, I'm getting old. All right, so we'll go to fight night. So fight night started early. The pay-per-view started at 5. We got to the arena around 4:30. MGM was packed, man. It felt on that Saturday like, okay, here we go. It's fight night, and for the first time in a long time, I was really fucking pumped up for a fight, man. I don't really get pumped up for fights anymore because, you know, being in media, you gotta stay neutral. You gotta stay fair and balanced. You once you step on this side, you lose the fan part of you. Like, as in, we all started out as fans. Well, a majority of us media people, we all started out as fans. And then when we get into this line of work, we find out that you can't be a fan anymore, because in order for you to do your job and do your job objectively, you can't give preference to one person or the other. So that part leaves. So when you're there ringside, the other weird thing too, when you're there ringside, you notice that none of the press people are cheering or like, yeah, it's frowned upon. You're not supposed to do that. You're focused. You're there doing your job. You're trying to objectively see a fight, and you're also trying to score the fight for the sake of you guys as well. So when you cross over to this side, the fan part gets lost. It's dead, and you don't get excited over fights like you used to when you were a fan. With that being said, I was excited. I was really, really excited for this fight when I heard the Triple G music. When the Triple G music turned on, that was the first time, I want to say, in a few years, that I was like, fuck, here we go. You know what? This is the first time since Pacquiao Marcus 4 that I was like, oh shit, like, here we fucking go, And I was with Tino, and we're both like, oh yeah, when he started walking out. So here's my take on the fight. And I had bad seats, to be honest, so I didn't like my vantage point. And I think it might have affected the way I saw the fight. I want to see the replay. From where I was seated, and let me remind you guys, from where I was seated, I did not have my usual seat. To me, I couldn't see a lot of the little details that I usually see in a fight. From where I was seated, and I'll note again, which was a bad seat, I saw it a draw. From where I was seated when I was scoring round by round by round by round by round. But my overall impression from the fight, I remember I told Tino, I think it's a draw, dude. But I think if you were to score the fight overall, and this is the impression that I still have of the fight, I think Gennady Golovkin won the fight overall. I think he fought the more effective fight. His punches were more effective. His punches scored more. He pressed the fight. Gennady Golovkin fought like the challenger, not like the champion. He fought in there like he had something to prove. Canelo fought a beautiful fight. Beautiful fight. He moved. He slipped. Used his shoulders. Made Golovkin look slow. Terco, like they say in Spanish. Slow and heavy in there. Fought a really beautiful fight, but there was times where, I don't know, it's just Golovkin. Man, that's the worst feeling in the world. Having a guy like Gennady Golovkin in front of your face for 12 rounds, nonstop pressure and action, and touching you up. Canelo had no answer for that jab that Golovkin was throwing. And that's always been, I think, a weak point in the armor of Canelo Alvarez is the jab. Floyd Mayweather showed it when he fought Canelo Alvarez. That jab is the most effective weapon in all of combat sports. Not just boxing, in all of combat sports. It's both offense and defense. It allows you to keep your opponents off balance. It allows you to hide shots. It allows you to set up combinations. It is the #1 tool in a fight, and not a lot of fighters use it to effectiveness. But Golovkin is a guy that has a hell of a jab. Jamal Charlo, amazing freaking jab. Amazing jab. So with that being said, I felt that Gennady won the fight overall. Overall, if we were scoring the fight overall as a whole and not round by round, I would give the fight to Gennady Golovkin. And I'm curious to see the replay because, like I mentioned, I didn't like the seats that I was in because I couldn't really see the shots I usually see. And I have a feeling if I watch the replay over again, I'm going to have a score probably of like 115, 113, 116, 112 to Golovkin because he was the one that I felt was being effective in there. Though Canelo Alvarez fought a beautiful, that was a magnificent fight. I think he fought as good as a fight that he could fight. My question is this. Well, I have a few questions, but my question that I started asking myself when I was sitting there and pondering about a rematch is, and I'll ask you guys this question too, and I want to go ahead and see your comments about this. So I'll put this question out there. Can Canelo Alvarez fight a better fight in which he fought Golovkin on Saturday night? Can he fight better than that? Can he have a stronger performance of that? Now I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit now and see your guys' responses and see what you think. And then I'll go ahead and tell you my response, what I think. So I'll ask the question again. Can Canelo Alvarez fight a better fight than what he showed on Saturday night? I'm seeing a lot of no's, and I'm seeing a few yeses. Okay, so I was thinking that same question, and I thought to myself, you know what? I think he fought as good as a fight as he could. I think he can make a little bit of adjustments here and there in terms of his stamina. I think he bulked up a little bit more for the fight than he should have. I think in a rematch, it might be a smart thing to slim down a little bit, work on speed, work on his conditioning a little bit more so that he doesn't physically look tired, because there's points in that fight where he physically looked like he was going to go. And I think it was around 7, 8, 9 where you could see a change in Canelo Alvarez's body language. He was getting physically tired. The presence of Golovkin was physically wearing him down, and you could see him. You could just see it in the body language. If he works on that, works on speed a little bit more, if he does stay in the pocket and chooses to stay in the pocket a little bit more to land more body shots, he could fight a little bit better of a fight than this fight. But I think overall, will there be a night and day difference in terms of performance from Canelo Alvarez if he were to fight this fight again? No. But that being said, I think if we were to look at this matchup in terms of a skew, a graph, Canelo's like this. He's 27. He keeps getting better. Golovkin, age-wise, is like this because of the age. He's 36. He's not going to be in that peak physical form for very, very long. And you know what? He might prove us wrong, but I think, you know, it's a natural progression. It's age. Age, you know, that's what it does to you. It makes you a little bit slower, a little less sharper, a little bit more vulnerable. And I think it's going like this right now, you know, in terms of Canelo's going up, and Golovkin, though Golovkin fought a fucking great fight. Golovkin was sharp, defense good, jab on point, moving to pressure, not getting tired at all. Sustained pressure for 12 rounds and not getting tired. But can Golovkin have a stronger performance than what he had on Saturday? I think he can. Thing is, when are they going to give him the rematch? That's the real question. How long are they going to wait to give this rematch? If they wait 2 years, is Golovkin going to fight the same way? No, it's 2 years removed. He's physically won't be the same damn fighter. So, you know, it puts me in a very mixed response in terms of this fight. I think they should do an immediate rematch. I got the impression that there's no urgency for an immediate rematch. That's the impression that I got at the post-fight press conference, that there wasn't an urgency to do an immediate rematch. And I was telling somebody, if I was looking at it a pure business sense, if I'm Golovkin's team, I want that immediate rematch right away, because you never know what's going to happen with age. Any one of these fights, age can creep up and that's it. So I'd want to do the immediate rematch while he's still in good form and good shape. If I was on Canelo's side, you got to think Canelo Alvarez wants the immediate rematch. He's never backed down from really any fights, and you got to give the guy credit, you know. He's fought the best of the best up to this point on his resume. But if you're Canelo, you got to know you have the luxury of time in this rematch. You know, if we wait a year and a half for the rematch, it only favors Canelo better. If you wait 2 years, even sweeter. So they have advantages coming into the rematch in terms of that. I think the biggest factor in the rematch is going to be age and the condition that Canelo Alvarez shows up in. But I think the overlying factor is what role will age play in the rematch. Now, a few things, too, that I wanted to point out about the fight. First off, New York's terrible for the rematch. New York, MSG is a crappy arena. It sucks. It's terrible to watch fights. Setup is bad. It's just not a good place to watch fights. Golovkin and Canelo should fight in Vegas again. And I'll get to the judge in a little bit. They should fight to Vegas again because Vegas is where the most money is, where both fighters can make the most money, and it just makes more business sense. It makes for a better fight atmosphere. There's no other place where a big fight of this magnitude should take place other than Las Vegas. Every other place sucks, except the StubHub. StubHub is a dope venue, and I implore all you guys watching, if you get a chance to watch a fight, and it's at the StubHub in California, you fucking go there. And you buy a ticket. Doesn't matter if you buy a floor seat or the cheapest ticket. It's gonna be worth it, and some crazy shit always happens at the StubHub. Now, with that being said, where was the body punching from both fighters in this fight? I was asking myself this question too, especially with Golovkin, because there was times where Golovkin had Canelo Alvarez against the ropes. And I'm like, man, touch him up to the body. The body's right there. It's open. Why don't you take it? Had a lot to do with Canelo. His movement, little muscle feints where you think a punch is coming and you got to be tight in there because you think a response is going to come back and you're there waiting like, okay, give me something. I'm seeing the muscles move. I think something's going to come my way and you're just waiting there. But the other thing too, Canelo Alvarez moved a lot in the fight. So it's hard to sit on your punches and throw a body shot when you have a guy moving around so much like Canelo Alvarez. It's extremely difficult. There's only a few instances in the fight where Canelo really stood in front of Golovkin against the ropes. And in those times, I would have preferred Golovkin through body shots, but he didn't. On the flip side, Canelo Alvarez can throw body shots really because he was moving around so much. He didn't get an opportunity to sit on his punches and throw body shots against Golovkin for the worry that he opens himself up for counter shots from Golovkin. Golovkin is sneaky in which he's really good in throwing punches when you throw punches. So you throw a 1-2 and Golovkin throws with you over that. There was a point where he threw like an overhand right and it caught Golovkin like in the side of the head. And we're like, fuck. Canelo got a hell of a chin. If one thing, too, that Canelo proved on Saturday night that I think he can take away as a moral victory, because it was a draw, no one won, though many of you feel that Golovkin won. About everybody that I saw on my Facebook page, my personal friends thought that Golovkin won. Everybody in the arena thought Golovkin won. Canelo got booed when the decision got read. But it's just Canelo went 12 rounds with a guy that everyone felt was going to knock him the fuck out. Here's this guy that was supposed to knock out Canelo Alvarez. Bigger, more devastating puncher, better pedigree. Technically speaking, had more effective tools than Canelo Alvarez. Golovkin was supposed to dominate Canelo, supposed to knock him out. And Canelo took all his punches and showed, hey, I can hang with you. I can hang with someone this high of a pedigree, and I could take his punches. Even though, to be honest, Golovkin never really landed a lot of consistent flush punches, but dude landed a lot of punches. He landed a lot of jabs. So credit to Canelo Alvarez. I think he proved a lot of people wrong. He made a lot of people shut up. I think that he proved that he does belong in a different category than other fighters. He really does belong in the category of special fighters. To be able to last as long as he did with Golovkin, take his best punch and not get hurt, says a lot about the skills that he possesses as a fighter. And Canelo Alvarez is only getting better. Only getting better. And that's why I think a lot of people might favor Canelo in the rematch, because he's only getting better and he does have age in his side. And he's in his physical prime right now. And he's going to be in his physical prime for a few more years. So the fight's over. People are pissed. They're booing. We make our way to the floor. I speak to Kevin Kelly. He felt that Golovkin won. I speak to Eric Morales. He felt that Canelo Alvarez won. Chavez Sr. felt that Canelo won. Chavez Jr. felt that Golovkin won. Who else did we get? I think Kovalev thought Golovkin won. Ken Porter Sr. Kenny Porter thought it was a great fight. I'm trying to see the people that we got post-fight to give you a list, but you had a lot of people saying one thing or the other. You know, it was a great fucking fight. Though I think overall, like I mentioned, I thought Golovkin won the fight. So post-fight starts. We're all setting up. And then the commissioner, Bob Bennett, comes down. And let me give you something funny about Bob Bennett. So when this Mayweather-McGregor fight was announced, I asked to interview him, because I wanted to talk to him about why the hell this fight would even get sanctioned. And I asked him, we were in the back somewhere. This was during Kovalev Ward, I think Thursday or Friday. So I see him in the back, and I'm like, hey, Mr. Bennett, my name's Marcos. I'm with so-and-so with Fight Hub. I want to see if I can grab you for 3 minutes of your time. I want to talk to you. And he's like, oh, well, I you know, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about this Mayweather-McGregor fight. I have a few questions for you about it, you know, nothing, you know, serious. And he's like, well, I don't want to do it here. And I'm like, why not? You're here. Why can't we do it here? And he's like, no, I'd prefer it. We do it in my office. You can come to my office and we can do it. Just call me. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why the fuck do you want me to come to your office to do the interview? You're here right now. You know, and I'm like, I'm not going to go into, like, enemy territory. And I shouldn't even really say that, but I'm not going to go into your home court and do the interview where you could twist it too, you know? Why not just do the interview there? I don't edit any of these interviews. It's full on. When we do interviews, it's usually the full thing, and I let you guys sound off in the comments section about them. So he told me no and told me to call him. He's like, here's my phone number. It was his office number, not his cell phone number. So that was my first interaction with him. So he comes down, and I've noticed over the years he kind of gets snappy, to be honest, when you question him. So I'm there on press row. I'm running around getting stuff. This is post fight, and then he's talking to all the print guys, and he's talking for like a very, very long time. I don't know what the print guys were bringing up, what they're saying, but I know he was with them for a very, very long time, and he looked a bit agitated. So I'm sure they were pointing out that scorecard, the 118-110, and that's been the subject of this fight. It's taken over the conversation of this fight. It's been a disservice to Gennady and Canelo Alvarez, because the focus should be on the great tactical fight that this was, and it's not. Its focus is on this bogus scorecard, which I have no idea how you can give Canelo Alvarez that many rounds. It's just, it was a close fight. It wasn't a one-sided fight. No way. And it's terrible, because for someone like Gennady, where these chances only come once in a career, and what should have been, honestly, his defining moment, his legacy fight, it got taken away from him because of that scorecard, because of that judge's incompetence. And he's not the first fighter that's happened to. It happened to Oscar with Trinidad. They took that away from Oscar. You know, they all that hard work and sacrifice that Oscar put in for that fight against Trinidad was taken away from him because of the judges. Whitaker, Chavez Sr., Pacquiao, Bradley won. Erislandy Lara versus Paul Williams. Whether these judges know it or not, they're fucking up people's careers, man. And it's terrible. They're not the ones in there fighting. They're not taking a fucking punch. A lot of these a lot of times these guys come in and they're not the same goddamn fighters like they were before. It's a bunch of bullshit, you know? That for them to be this incompetent and to take that away from these guys after all the hard work they put in, and for a commission to allow this to happen for so long. This Adelaide Bird is not anything new. This has been happening for like 20, 25, 30 years with these stupid decisions. And it's terrible. And I think finally we might be going in the right direction in terms of some sort of action being done with shitty judges. And really it all comes down to people like you, fans of the sport, who keep this sport going, who love this sport, who love the fighters that involved, who empathize with the sacrifices those fighters do and go through, and knowing the risk, which is the biggest thing, the risk these fighters put themselves to, because you're not, you know, it's a fucked up thing, and it's not talked about a lot, but you could die in a fucking fight, in a boxing fight. And people have died. People have gotten brain damage and not been the same. It's a very real risk. And any fighter's fight can end up being their last fight. They know the risk, but obviously you don't want that in your mind, you know? So for these fucked up judges to fuck up people's careers because they're incompetent or they don't know how to score a goddamn fight, it's a bunch of shit. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's not right, and I understand one bad night, but when you consistently have bad nights, something needs to be done. You need to be kicked off. And Adelaide Bird is a judge, from what I've seen, has scored a few bad fights, and there should be a review board. They review your judging. If you've had consistent bad nights, taken off big major cards, show that you're competent, or if not, you're done. Retire. Look what happened to CJ Ross. She ended up retiring after that bogus Canelo Mayweather card. It was terrible. I think we're in the right direction, but fans and people need to keep pressure on these organizations and really put it on them that you want accountability, you want something done, because if we don't put it on them, they're just gonna brush it aside and be like, oh, you know, there was a once in a fucking blue moon thing. You know, it's fine. She's a good judge. So that whole fiasco happens. The post-fight press conference happens. Golovkin makes his way towards the stage. He's bummed out. He says, you know, this is terrible for boxing. It's a terrible decision. He can't believe that he lost. Gennady was only there for maybe about 15 minutes, and then he leaves. They said that he has to go take his piss test in the back. I try to talk to him, and I try to talk to Abel, and I can't. They just rush him out right away. And this is when the commissioner comes, and he starts addressing it again, and Michael just puts it on this fucking, Michael Montero puts it on this fucking guy again. And he did a really good job about voicing what fans wanted to voice. So when all this is happening, I'm editing all the pieces that we've gotten so far from the night. So I'll give you a backstory about what happens with me on fight night. And a lot of times I can't get to ask questions at the post-fight press conference, even though I fucking want to, because I'm uploading videos for you guys when all this shit is happening. So it's like I got to prioritize it. Do I want to ask my question, or do I need to get content up for you guys? And I always choose getting content up for you guys first. So that's usually what I'm doing, and I don't get to ask questions, which sucks, because I do want to ask questions. And I do have an editor, but there's a lot of things going on too. A lot of the times they won't give me extra credentials to bring extra people to help with the workload. Sometimes they will only issue me 2 credentials, me and a camera guy. And it makes it extremely difficult. For this one, I always only issued 2 credentials, me and a camera guy. So the camera guy is filming the post-fight press conference. I don't have anybody to roam with me to do one-on-one interviews. So it makes it a lot harder. I got to do double duty now. I got to shoot and edit while the post-fight press conference is happening. So a lot of times I can't ask questions that I want to ask because of that. So he just fucking he looked fucking pissed, to be honest. He was, you can tell in his body language, he was, you know, like this, and I saw the whole thing happen, and I commend him on that. You know, we've been getting a lot of slack, I think, on Twitter. Well, why didn't you include his name in the video? And I'll address that right now. We put his name in the description. You can only title a video if you were to type in his whole name and then what we wanted to get out in terms of the title of the video, it wouldn't have came out. And you got to look at it from an SEO perspective in terms of what we do. And it sucks, but this is the world that we live in. When you put out a news article or a video, you title it the way that's going to get the most eyes on it. If we would have been really fucked up, real fucking scumbag douches, we would have cut the part where he introduced himself, and we kept that part in there. If we were really scummy, we would have cut that whole part out and just gotten to the interaction where he didn't introduce himself by name. So that's the part where I'm addressing, and I've seen this happen in the past, even with me, when I've done interviews with people. When my quotes have been used, and they've been used a lot over the course of the last 7 years, people don't write my name at all. Boxing scene takes our quotes all the time. Not one mention of me in my name. So if we were really scummy, we would have cut out the part where he introduced his name and not even given him credit in the description, which we did. And honestly, that's the headline that we went with is a stronger headline than so-and-so Michael Montero, he did Michael Montero, you know, because to be honest, you know, people do know about Montero, but you got to look at it too. Casual people are looking at these clips and videos also. So the casual people aren't going to know who this guy is. You know, we know him because we work with him every day, and we're boxing fans, and we know of the stuff that he puts on YouTube and the interviews that he does. Us people in boxing know who he is. But overall, when you look at the MMA fans that are interested in this fight, that are looking at clips, what's going to stick out to them more? The headline we went with or the other one? They're going to be like, oh shit, the reporter got into it with the commissioner. This is that pops out more. So that's the reasoning behind that. So that all happens. Okay? And Bennett looks visibly irritated and pissed off. He gets off stage. Here comes Canelo. And I'm going to be honest, the impression that I got from that part of the press conference was that there was no urgency for an immediate rematch. And that really bothers me a lot. I don't want to say... I like to think that he's not okay with the draw. If I was a fighter and I got a draw, it would bother me. Be like, no, I fucking won. I don't want to live with a fucking draw. No, I want to prove to people I fucking won this fight without a doubt. Let's fucking do it again. But I didn't get that impression in the post fight. It seemed like he was content with it, which I don't know. I didn't get to talk to him after. I tried to ask him a question. He just looked at me and then walked away. I didn't get a chance to talk to Oscar, talk to Bernard. Bernard made a good point, which I made earlier, that he went in with this guy who was the boogeyman, made him look normal, made him not look superhuman in his effort. So we stay up till 5 in the morning, me and Tino and Matt. Well, Matt went to sleep, but me and Tino stayed up till 5 in the morning editing videos. So during this time, I'm texting Abel. I'm like, Abel, man, can we get an interview, please? You know, we didn't get a chance to talk to you. Can we get you? And Abel texts me, yeah, we could do the interview at like 8:30. And I'm like, oh, shit. I got to go to fucking bed. But I got to help Tino out. I'm like, fuck. Let's hope I wake up at 8:30. So I put my alarm at 8:30, hoping I'll wake up to be able to text Abel. Wake up at like fucking noon. And I'm just like, fuck. Text Abel. He tells me he's golfing. And I'm like, shit, you know, we still had work to do. So we go and we eat. And we were at the Mandalay Bay for the Kovalev fight. And I remember the sandwich spot. So we go there and we get wraps. And we're there editing. And I shit you not, within like half an hour of us editing, we see Abel in the lobby. And we're like, oh, fuck. So like, I'm like, Abel. So he comes down and he tells me like, hey, you know, I got a meeting right now. I'm just waiting. So we're like, fuck, let's go ahead and let's do it. So we only got 5 minutes with him. I wish we'd have gotten a lot more time because I had a lot more questions for him. But you got to make with what you're given. And we were only given 5 minutes. I want to say at the very end of the interview when I cut it off, Tom Loeffler was to the side of us and we got a meeting to go to. I don't know why we disconnected there. That's really weird. I'm on Wi-Fi here, but so you know, we spoke to Abel and I asked him like, hey, you know, how's Gennady doing? Like, how is he really doing? What does he think about everything? Is he happy with the fight that he fought? And what is he feeling? And he told me that, you know, not 100% happy with the fight that he fought. That he felt that both him and Canelo fought a great fight. But that you know, his spirits are good. The Gennady spirits were good, but that he felt that he won the fight. That Abel felt that he won the fight as well, and that, you know, he really expressed distaste. Abel did. Abel expressed distaste towards the judges, and he felt that it wasn't right. So yeah, we were trying to get Gennady for a very long time. Sorry, I'm getting like tweets at the same time right now. We tried to get a hold of Gennady through a contact that we have, and it just didn't happen. And we spent a lot of the day waiting to see if we can get a hold of Gennady, and it just I'm gonna try again because Gennady doesn't live far from me, so hopefully I can get him. But that was pretty much the fight week, you guys. It wasn't as stressful as the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Sorry, I'm sounding a little bit low energy right now because I am a little bit tired still. I didn't get much sleep earlier. I'm going to go ahead and open this part up now to your guys' questions and comments. If you guys have any questions about the fight, any extra perspective that you guys want, anything about the undercard guys, the Randy Caballero, Diego De La Hoya fight, anything that you guys are wondering about what happened in the post-fight, or any general questions you guys have, go ahead and sound off on them right now, and we'll go ahead and open up the Q&A part. Paul Tor, who wins the rematch? Like I mentioned, the rematch, it depends on how soon the rematch happens, because I think at this point, age starts playing a huge factor in the rematch in terms of what Gennady has and knowing that he can't fight against Father Time. And I think the longer they wait for a rematch, the better it is for Canelo. Because if you're looking at this as a bell curve, Canelo's like this. And I mentioned this earlier. Canelo is still going up. And Gennady is up here. But because of age, you got to imagine it's going down like that, you know. So it favors Canelo the longer they wait for the rematch. If they do the rematch 6 months from now, I honestly would favor Gennady. I think Gennady fought a good fight. And normally, if they had a better judge, there's a good chance he would have gotten the decision on Saturday night. So does Gennady need to do a few things differently? Yeah, of course. I'd prefer to see more body work from Gennady, to be honest, you know. Cut the ring off just a little bit more so that Canelo's not moving as much as he is. So that's what I think about a rematch. Robert Serrato, does Triple G have to KO him to win? You bring up a good point. Now, you could look at it from this perspective. If we had a competent judge and that judge did their job and you're basing it on what the public opinion was of the fight, Gennady could fight the same fight and he could win. So does Gennady need to get a knockout to win? No. I think if Gennady's just himself and he boxes Canelo, he can win the fight. Now, the other thing is, does he think he needs to get a knockout in order to avoid what happened in this first fight that leaves a bad taste in his mouth? Could be. It could change the way that he sees the fight, the way that he wants to fight the fight. But if he fights a hyper-aggressive fight, it also opens him up to getting knocked out too. So you got to be careful. You got to, you know, weigh the pros and cons of that. Did I enjoy the fight? The one? Yeah, I did actually. It was really cool. I liked it. It was a good experience. I'm happy I got to be there in person for that fight. It'll stick out to me, to be honest. It was a good fight. I'm glad I got to see both these guys fight in their somewhat primes. I would have wished the fight would have happened last year. But yeah, I'm really happy that I got to see him. Okay, Rocky Esposito. Marcos, if a rematch isn't made, who can Canelo fight next that would draw pay-per-view buys? So I got this whole little theory on the how this is going to all shape out. Because of, from what I saw, as there's not a lot of urgency I felt coming from that side to have a rematch. So I was kind of playing this out like, well, shit, who can each guy go next? And what should each guy do? I think at this point, with the public seemingly in the favor of Gennady Golovkin winning this fight in their eyes, in their opinion, he doesn't have much else to prove in terms of that. And in terms of his personal goals, there's still a goal left that he hasn't achieved, and that goal is to unify the division. And that goal is going after Saunders' WBO title. I read something that Golovkin wants to return in December. Canelo doesn't want to return till May or September. And when he was pressed about that, he didn't say, I will rematch Gennady Golovkin in May or September. He just said, I want to return in May and September. So, you know, if that happens, I could see Golovkin fighting Saunders, unifying the division. Honestly, if he unifies the division, what else is there to do? I would say, you know, it'd be a viable option to go ahead and retire, to be honest. You fought Canelo. Majority of people felt you won the fight. You got a bad shake with that judge. It was a close competitive fight. You unified the middleweight division. What else is there to do? Fight Saunders, and then after you fight Saunders, you got the biggest goal checked off. You could move up a division. Fight the champion there. That could be another challenge, but if he wins this title against Saunders, I don't really see there being much for him to achieve anymore. I think he could retire after that, to be honest. In terms of Canelo, what can Canelo do? What would make the because you got to be thinking of it on a business sense too. What could make the rematch even bigger? The stakes even higher. And there's one instance where I think they could make it that much more significant. Do you believe in time travelers? I believe that there was a time traveler in the Tyson fight. If you guys haven't seen that video, type in time traveler in Tyson fight. It's a trippy ass fucking video. So for this rematch to be bigger, I think Canelo could fight Saunders, get the WBO belt, and then rematch Golovkin in September, and then it will be an undisputed fight, which, you know, a little bell and whistle. It makes it that much more significant that it's for all the belts. And for me, you know, I think from a business standpoint, I might want to go to that angle and go ahead and do that to make that fight that much more significant. Let's see what else you guys are asking questions. Let's see here. The time traveler has been debunked. Anton, what do you? It got debunked? Send me the link to the video, bro. I want to see this because that shit was fucking trippy, man. Because cameras back in the 90s weren't like that. It's like a vertical. He was holding the shit like this, and it's like blinking, and it has the camera in the middle. So send me the link. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's this video on YouTube that made the rounds a while ago, and in the video it shows this guy in the stands watching Tyson versus McNeely, and that was the fight that Mike Tyson beat the brakes off this guy in like a fucking round or something like that. So he's there chilling in the background, and there's a point, you could even see it in the Showtime replay. There's a point where Tyson's like this, and it's close up to him, and you see the guy holding a camera, what looks like a camera phone. He's holding it, and it's recording. You see the blinking light doing this, and it's a trippy fucking thing because I remember I was alive during that time, and cameras were like this. Any digital cameras were like this. You saw no cameras like this. So it's a trippy fucking thing. If you guys have a lot of you guys are asking what the fuck is this video, type in time traveler Tyson fight, and I'm seeing now a lot of you guys are saying it was debunked. It was an early digital camera. Send me the link to that debunk page, please, because I want to look into it. It was a Fugex FS30. I had one when I was a kid. Can you please send me a picture of that? I just want to see it just so I know that I physically looked at it and I know what the hell it is, you know? Let's see here. Okay, I'm scrolling through your guys' questions. I'm going to pick out one that sticks out. Do you think this fight affected Canelo and Golden Boy in terms of credibility? This is based on the general reaction in the arena and the web. No, no, because they had nothing to do with the scorecard. It was the commission. It affects the commission's credibility. The commission appointed this judge who's a shitty judge who doesn't see fights, and I think that this judge is the one that... No, I don't think she judged the Pacquiao fight. If someone can do research real quick, go ahead and see if you could see if she was one of the ones that scored the Pacquiao fight, the Pacquiao Horn fight, which I don't think so. But double check, because if she did, then that's 2 fucking fights in the course of 6 months. She's fucking fucked up. But no, I don't think it affects Golden Boy's credibility. It affects the credibility of the commission, that they appoint someone who clearly doesn't know how to fucking score a fight, and she doesn't know how to score MMA fights either. She's terrible with MMA fights also as well. You got to give props to Oscar and Golden Boy. Yes, my preference, I would have liked to seen the fight last year, but he made a promise. He said they would fight by this time in September, and he fulfilled his promise. And you got to give props to Golden Boy for putting their guy in a fight that was a very difficult fight, that they weren't sure he was going to win. Well, I'm sure they felt he was going to win, but it was perceived like we didn't know if he was going to win or not. It's perceived as a very competitive 50-50 fight. So you got to give props to him, and you got to give props to Canelo too as well for taking that challenge. And Canelo's always been a guy that has gone and fought in guys. So go ahead and keep the questions coming, guys. I'm only going to be on for a little bit longer. Let's see what else pops out. Adelaide Bird was supposed to judge Pacquiao, but Top Rank removed her. And I saw a tweet from Carl Moretti about Adelaide Bird too as well, and I think he retweeted that tweet saying that, you know, he had been bringing up about how incompetent of a judge she was for a long time now. All right, let's see here. All right, send me some good questions, guys. Let's see. 700 punches. GG is a fucking machine, dude. He is. A lot of volume, man. I don't know how you don't get tired that way throwing that many punches. How are you? Joe Blogs. You know, this is something that I think needs to be addressed a bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and try to address it the best I can. Joe Blogs writes, "Hi Marcos, how aware are you of asking questions that are probing, yet may result in you losing press credentials in the future? I know it's a fine balancing act to manage." It is. It's a very fine balancing act. It sucks, you know? Like, I think overall, in general, any industry that you're in, media gets shitted on. Reporters get shitted on because we have to be critical of people. And we got to call people out on their bullshit. That's part of what we have to do in order to avoid things that happen on Saturday. So that's what we have to do. And I think overall, in any industry, if I was in fucking football or basketball or politics, any other industry, and I'm media, it's gonna be stacked against me. I'm always gonna be met with defiance from the other side, and it is extremely hard. You know, there's been at times where I feel if I ask a certain question, I am putting my press credentials on the line and at risk, to be honest. And it's you got to pick your battles and really see if it's a battle that you want to keep pressing and if it's worth to keep pressing because of that. I'll do a perfect example, the UFC. The UFC, if they hear a question that you ask Dana a question or someone a question they don't like, they'll kick you the fuck out. You won't get press credentials again. And it's fucked up. A lot of the media they credential for their fights, they deem as safe media. Safe media. Safe media as in they know that they're safe because they won't grill them too hard unless it's something egregious where they have to fucking grill them really, really hard. That's how they run shit here. In boxing, it's a little bit different. I tip my hat off on that aspect. We are able to ask questions that normally, honestly, would get us kicked out of fucking the UFC. But last Saturday had nothing to do with Golden Boy. That was more the commission. But honestly, it is hard. There's times where I want to... You got to understand, too, man. It's a fine balance, too. The way I interview people is not the way I talk to my friends. And I wish I could interview people the way I could talk to my friends. And there's been a lot of times where I hear something from my interviewee, and here in my head, it's like, you're full of shit. That's bullshit. But obviously, I'm professional, and I can't respond like that, and I got to be professional. And I can't do that, but it is a very fine and difficult balance that you have to play, and especially us. You know, here's the other thing. You know, guys that work for these bigger outlets like ESPN, LA Times, Fox, FS1, these papers, I think they should be more critical because they have the backing. They know that they have a huge organization that's going to back them up, and that if they get into it with a promoter or someone in MMA or in boxing, they know that they have leverage, that there's such a big outlet that they're not going to tell them your outlet can't come here anymore. And with the digital channels, we don't have that backing. We don't have that luxury. You know, we're small, we're independent. We don't have that support from an ESPN. So, you know, we find ourselves at times in situations where we want to ask these questions, but we got to look at it too as we're trying to make a living out of this, and we got families to feed. We got to feed ourselves and families to support, and you got to look at it as like, shit, you know, maybe this isn't in the best interest overall for me and this outlet to do this. So that's what happens a lot of the times. I feel that if I was with an ESPN or a Fox, I could respond a little bit differently and not ask, because in general I ask the questions that I do want to ask that I think that you fans want to hear, but I think the response would be a little bit different in terms of how I counter response a lot of the answers that I get when I'm interviewing. What's up with you guys saying feet? You seeing that right there? The fucking poster? Yeah, there's a Halloween decoration spider hanging on the left corner, so it's Halloween time. I don't know. They decided to decorate over here. Don't ask me. It wasn't my choice. Okay, you guys. Thank you, amino acid. I make sure to take my amino acids every day. And I'm glad a lot of you guys are watching that time travel link. No, the Nevada Commission is not more corrupt than FIFA. FIFA is corrupt as fucking shit. They're terrible. I don't know how FIFA is an organization that for the last fucking 30 years hasn't implemented instant replay. Every other goddamn major sport has implemented fucking instant replay. And FIFA does not implement instant replay up until barely now. We're going to think about it. It's shitty because they've screwed a lot of people of World Cup wins, of placing in World Cup finals because of their stupid referees that misplays all the goddamn time. FIFA is so corrupt. It's just terrible, the bureaucracy of FIFA and how everybody bribes rampant in FIFA. Federations bribing people to have World Cups in their countries and all that. FIFA is rampant with corruption. FIFA, by far the most corrupt organization, sports organization in the world. Terrible. And how they have not implemented instant replay, a most common sense thing. Human error, hello. A referee cannot not always be everywhere all at once. And yeah, I do. That's why you have line officials. But even the line officials miss shit. You have cameras all over the goddamn arena. You got an omnipresence in these games with how many fucking cameras you have. And you're telling me that it's not common sense to have instant replay in these games? You shitting me? The biggest games during the World Cup, and you're telling me you can't have instant replays? That's a disservice you're doing to these players. It's terrible. You've screwed people out of World Cup wins. Get the fuck out of here, man. FIFA's terrible. Sorry, I'm like really passionate about soccer. Like more passionate about soccer than I am than boxing. And I'm really fucking passionate about boxing. But soccer, I can still be a fan of soccer or football. I don't have to be objective there. You know? I could still enjoy soccer and get fucking fanned out crazy about it. And that's the one thing that's really pissed me off about FIFA. You know, put fucking people there that have common sense. How is it that every other sports organization in the world thinks instant replay is a good idea? And it's a standard. It's not even questioned at all. But somehow FIFA is like, no, we trust our line judges. It's fine, you know. The ref that can't always see shit and is one side of the field. You got an omnipresence and cameras everywhere, and you think it's common sense to go with your stupid ref that half the time doesn't know what shit's going on. He has to defer to his line fucking sign line ref, and half the times he's only seeing one part of the goddamn field. And when you have players bunched up like this, you're missing shit too. Alright, that was my FIFA rant, guys. Sorry about that. FIFA really pisses me the fuck off. Because there's been a lot of fucking games where other teams should have fucking been in finals, or they've given penalties where people fucking dive, or where people shouldn't be getting fucking penalties. They've given them penalties because these stupid fucking refs. I'm just gonna stop. Sorry. Back to boxing, guys. Yeah, FIFA rant. Big time FIFA rant. Can't fucking. Speaking of which, who's all going to the World Cup? Russia. I want to go to that World Cup. Alright, I'm just going to answer a few more questions. I saw a response from somebody about the situation that a lot of us digital channels are in. I'm going to go ahead and try to get to that, and then I'll answer probably one more, because I've been on here with you guys for about an hour and a half now. Wasn't expecting to talk for this long. CR7, I'm a big Ronaldo fan. Hey Marcos, how did you score Canelo, GGG versus Canelo? Love from Scotland. What's up, Brandon? Like I said earlier, I had a really bad seat, so I wasn't seeing the action how I normally saw. But from those bad seats, I had it a draw. But I think overall, if I were to score the fight as a whole instead of round by round, I think that Golovkin was a lot more effective in the fight. Okay, I'm trying to find that one question. Here we go. Melquise Naveo. Marcos, what advantages do you have as a YouTube reporter that those who work on networks don't? It seems like fight camps give y'all more insider access. You are all much better at coverage than TV. I'll tell you some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages. The disadvantage is that a lot of these guys can make a phone call and they get into a camp right away. I can't call Golden Boy and ask for Canelo to have one-on-one time with Canelo. They tell me no. You know, same thing. If I worked at ESPN and I asked for Gennady, I could call. Well, I could maybe make a call, and it's 50-50 now with him. But I'm saying just in general, like, hey, sorry, my fucking animal here is doing some weird shit. The advantages that we have is we do end up getting a lot closer relationship with a lot of these fighters because we're seeing them more often. Because we're keeping the sport alive. to be honest, with our coverage, that we have a bit more rapport. But you know, these guys are always going to open a camp and get more access for a bigger, what's perceived to be a bigger outlet. And I've been making this argument for a very, very long time. I think platforms like myself, like Fight Hype, like the other channels, get as much views as these papers do, and in some instances more views. And what these guys aren't equating is, they should be looking at is when you write an article, you know how you get page impressions? They should be seeing us digital channels as like, okay, we put out a video, look at the video views, and compare those video views to website clicks on a article that's written. And I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, we're on par, if not more. And don't give me that shit that your newspaper gets circulated in 50,000 homes. That's a fallacy right there, all right? And I'll tell you why that's a fallacy. Your paper gets circulated in 50,000 homes, but are 50,000 people reading that one story you wrote in the newspaper? First off, you can't guarantee that. You're dumping your paper off in these 50,000 homes, but you can't guarantee that 50,000 people are reading that one specific sports story. So even then, that gets cut in half, all right? And even then, also, when someone is turning to the sports section, how do you know they're turning to that boxing story and they're not reading a football story or a basketball story? That cuts it again in another half. The advantage that we have is we could show these people right off the bat the interest for the fight and that they watch the video. And that's my rant on that. It's the same thing when you put a commercial on TV. These networks sell you, oh yeah, well, we're in 1 million homes. But that doesn't guarantee that my commercial is going to be watched by 1 million people. It doesn't make sense. That's my rant about that, because digital outlets, us digital outlets as a whole, get dicked around so much, man. It's terrible. It's you know, it's a struggle. All right, you guys. I know Canelo Super Saiyan 3. I like that. That's a cool name. You're getting 90,000, 80,000 type views. That's more attention than ESPN boxing or MMA coverage. And you know what? During this Mayweather-McGregor fight, we were getting more traffic than the networks on their digital channels. We were getting more. Our traffic was on par with the UFC. The UFC has like 1 million something subscribers. We only have a quarter of that, and we're getting traffic on par with them. So it bugs me a lot sometimes, you guys. To be honest, it's really frustrating, because a lot of these, you know, I'll be honest, when we go cover an event, it comes out of my pocket. We don't have sponsors. It all comes out of my pocket. I gotta pay people. I gotta pay for rooms. I gotta pay for people's meals, people's gas, the hotel, miscellaneous expenses, equipment. This all comes out of my pocket. I don't have bankroll from a network or a paper or a TV station. I don't got that kind of bankroll, man. So it's difficult. It's extremely difficult, because we're all independent, you know. So it makes it really hard when we can't get access, because you know that's how we make a living. It really affects how we make a living. All right, guys, recapping the fight week that happened in the Canelo. Yeah, it's a super fucking street. You see all these fucking gray hairs that I have right here? It's all from this fucking shit, man. It's fucking, you guys are funny with your questions. You guys are funny with your questions, man. It's an extremely stressful job, guys. It's an extremely, extremely stressful job. It's a very gratifying and grateful job. I love my job. It's the only, I've had like 21 jobs in my whole entire life. And this has really probably been the only job that I've ever really been good at, other than being a personal trainer. I enjoyed being a personal trainer. It was really fun, really gratifying. All right, you guys. You guys are funny, dude, with the questions that you ask. I keep it professional, guys. Come on. I keep it professional. And yeah, I seem so peppy in my interviews. I wish I could talk how I'm talking to you guys in my interviews. And I wish I could do the responses because it's funny, because I'll hear a response when I'm doing an interview, guys. And when I hear, I like to say, like, over the course of these 8 years that I've done this, that I've developed a pretty competent bullshit alert. I can smell fucking bullshit from a mile away. When I hear a fucking bullshit response, I know I'm getting a bullshit response. I'm fucking like Alright, I apologize, guys. I got a phone call. Like I was saying, I get a red flags and fucking alarms and shit keep going like fucking crazy when I get a bullshit response. And I want to say bullshit, but I can't. I got to keep it professional. Like my mentor once told me, Al Bernstein helped me a lot in this. He taught me a lot that what I know and how to conduct myself during these interviews. And you want to keep it in the middle. You want to keep it in the middle. You want to let them say their side. Ask them a question, but take yourself out of it. Don't put your opinion in that question. Ask a fair, objective question and let them answer. And then from that answer, do a logical counter answer to that point. But always give the other side their chance to give their argument for a thing. Don't ever put too much of yourself into the question, because people care about what that person has to say. The person you're interviewing has to say, not what you have to say. And it's your job to be critical of something that they're doing or what they're doing as well. And yes, Marcos Maidana did retire. All right, you guys, that does it for my rant, my little fight chat. I'm glad I had a chance to talk to you guys. I really appreciate it for you guys that stayed on it and heard me talk about my experience this fight week. Thank you so much. There's a few events this week. We'll have more videos up. Go ahead and subscribe to us if you haven't. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I keep getting phone calls. What I want to say is thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Go ahead and follow us on social media at FightUpTV. Follow me as well at Hey It's Marcos V on Twitter and on Instagram. And keep supporting, guys. I'm going to keep trying to fight the good fight. But I really appreciate your guys' support. And us as whole, as digital guys, all of us, I think we need your support and we need your help to elevate us so that we have a bigger voice and we're able to bring the sport to you guys as consistently as we can, and that our voice doesn't get drowned out, because we are the future. And really, I think, you know, a lot of the digital guys are the unsung heroes in this sport, at least, and they don't get as much credit as they should get. We put a lot of fucking work, man. A lot of fucking work. And I've seen a lot of guys get treated the wrong way. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. I'll try to give you guys more of a heads up for these live chats. These live chats are just very sporadic. It's when I have a thought in my mind, I want to go ahead and convey that thought to you guys as well. But I'll try to make it a weekly thing every Monday or every Tuesday to go ahead and do it for you guys, to just kind of recap my experiences from fight week and all that as well. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate your support. If you guys see me in person, please come up and introduce yourselves. I'd love to meet all of you guys and thank you in person for supporting our channel over the years. I know I saw a lot of you guys over in Vegas, and I conveyed my gratitude towards you guys for supporting the channel. If you have friends that are starting to get into combat sports, like boxing, like MMA, if they're like a casual type fan, please share our channel with them as well. Help us keep growing and growing. And this is a goal of mine. I don't know if I'll ever achieve it, but I want to have 1 million subscribers for our channel. To me, if we get 1 million subs, I could die happy. I could just, it would mean the world to me. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this chat. Hope you guys enjoyed the fights. Linares fights Campbell this week. We'll have a coverage of that fight as well. And I really appreciate your guys' support over the years. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day. And try not to get too worked up, you guys, over all this stuff, right? Treat each other good. Treat each other with respect. And stay out of trouble, guys. Thank you.